It's Q&A time. I have questions. Now, before I start, I just want to say that YouTube has changed the way it presents the comments to me in my inbox. It used to be all the comments that I hadn't replied to would be at the top. And so I knew that if I just didn't answer the questions, I'd be able to find them easily because they'd be at the top. But now it's changed it. I think they've changed the wording slightly, but it's now classing me hearting it as a response. So they all disappeared. So I've just spent ages looking for them all. So there's a lesson learned. Next time I will make sure to paste them into a Word document straight away when they come in, because that's what I did last time and it made more sense. But I didn't do it this time. Anyway, so I just want to say, if you've commented recently and I haven't replied, that's why. They've all disappeared off my feed. I mean, they're in there, they're on the videos, but I'd have to go into each individual one to find them, and I didn't know that I needed to look for them. So anyway, I do apologise if I have not responded to your comments as much lately, but now I know. Right, without any further ado, let's see what we've got here. Here's a question from Mary Ross, who wants to know if I have a passion for reading. Well, do you know what? I've got out of the habit of reading really since doing daily vlogging. And also, you see, when I was home educating Isabel, I read to her all day. Like, it was such a massive part of the home education that by the time I got to the evening and had maybe prepped for the next day as well, I was all read out. I didn't do any of my own. So kind of, yes, I did read all day, but it was allowed, and with discussing sort of vocabulary words and concepts and trying to just ad lib a bit to relate it to her own experience so that we could spark off a discussion between the two of us. So theoretically yes, but in practice at the moment no, I'm not, because I'm spending so long editing the videos that I haven't got time to read. Maybe once the pandemic is over and I'm on trains a lot again, I might read on trains, because I tended to read more out and about to pass time than when I'm at home, because when I'm at home I've got more practical things that I tend to do. So yeah, that's the answer to that one. Right, David M. So do you have any idea when you will be able to do some gigs again? I haven't been given any kind of dates. Things are starting to open up. They're starting to allow wedding receptions again, I think. We do mostly ceilidhs, and ceilidhs are big public dances where you have a dance caller who explains the moves, who will walk everybody through the moves while we are just sitting on stage chilling out, you know. And then when they're ready to start dancing, they all start dancing en masse. And if you've watched a lot of my earlier videos pre-pandemic, you'll have seen lots and lots of ceilidh footage, you know, so there's a lot of physical contact. So I don't know about ceilidhs. I do know that our caller, Mick, who you will have also seen in some of our previous vlogs, has done a lot of redesigning dances to be social isolation friendly, if that's not a bit of a mixture of contradictory terms there. Like he's worked stuff out that will suit a couple from the same household or bubble so that they could do that in separate away from other people. But also for single person households who can't mix, he's worked something out or another with some kind of marker that they move around. I think he said a chair or something, because that's something that venues tend to have in good supply. But anyway, yeah, he's got it all planned out so that if we do get called up to do socially distant ceilidhs, we'll be on it. Pubs are open for outside again now, so who knows, maybe we'll be asked to do an outdoor gig in a pub. Well, outside a pub. I don't like playing outdoor gigs because I'm a flautist, you see, and I'm reliant on this very controlled stream of air to come out of my aperture and into the hole at a very particular angle. And when there is a breeze that's more than just a gentle thing that you'd get in a room, you know, when somebody walks past, if it gets a bit, you know, stronger than that, I have to continuously micro adjust the pressure and shape to get it hitting that other side of my embouchure hole on the flute. It's very difficult. I've literally got to the point of experience now after all this time of playing that if I feel wind on my face at a certain angle or speed, I kind of know how much to micro adjust, and instantly my mouth is moving to compensate. But it's harder to just relax and enjoy the music. If you're not used to it and you're playing in a windy environment, the sound just disappears. It doesn't make it as far as the hole. So yeah, I don't like doing outdoor gigs, but I got a feeling I'm going to be doing some when we first start again. A lot of us now in the band have had the vaccine. Like in my pub band, we've all had the vaccine. There's only 3 of us. So there's that. Maybe that'll make a difference. I know in some parts of the world now they're giving a few more freedoms to people that have been double vaccinated, because the science is showing that chances are they're probably not going to get it and pass it on. I don't think it's 100% foolproof, but the chances are so dramatically reduced that some people in parts of the world are getting more freedom. And so maybe that will mean we get back to work because we've been jabbed. I don't know. Right, Julie Pearson. Hi, Imo. What do you think you would have done if you weren't a musician? Oh, I don't know. I never wanted to be anything else, but I do want to do videos now. Initially, I thought I wanted to be a teacher, but I did 22 weeks on a teacher training degree at age 18, and I very quickly learned that I did not want to do classroom control. I did not enjoy that bit where you have to control a group, because it took all my effort to do that and I still didn't succeed. And there was no love of learning and no love of introducing them to exciting things and facilitating, you know. No, it wasn't for me. I very quickly came to realise that. So yeah, I did used to want to do that. So I'd like to just do anything creative where I get to just make creative decisions all the time. Yeah, so I don't know. I did think about being a healthcare assistant for a long time, but I don't know. Maybe not. I don't know. I do like being creative. Cadenas, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. Cadenas Remixes. I can't remember if you said you were going to do another Q&A. However, I have accumulated some questions. Do you and IB ever celebrate anniversaries? No. I don't even know when we got together, to be honest. I didn't like mark it in a diary or anything. He doesn't even like celebrating his birthday. We're not big on cards. I'd make a fuss of Isabel, but honestly, I probably wouldn't even have a Christmas tree and decorations if it wasn't for Isabel, and IB probably wouldn't be bothered either. So no. Also, how many times have you said IB's real name on camera and had to re-record or edit it out? Oh, I don't know. A few times, just here and there. Sometimes like we're just filming and somebody mentions it, so just cut it out, yeah. I would also like to say thank you for uploading. I always look forward to watching your vlogs with me. Marmite on toast. Oh, thank you. Lee O'Connor. I love your shopping spreads. I have to make do with smelling the bakery aisle. I'm vegan, so can only look and smell most of it. I can't have. And my daughter has allergies, so she can't have a lot of things either. Will you do a longer vid about allergies one day? I wonder. How you cope, what alternatives you use. How did you find out about the allergies? Oh my goodness. Well, I never got to the bottom of Izzy's allergies really, and she's allergic to so many things I can't even remember how many. I have to get the folder out and look it up when I have to fill in forms with all her allergies and that. So I don't feel like I can give any advice videos on it, because we struggled and now it's controlled with immunosuppressing medication that she takes once a week in injection form. So I just don't know what to say. Sorry about that. I'd like to be more helpful. Alternatives to things. We missed tomatoes. She can eat tomatoes now, but she couldn't for most of the time. But didn't really come up with any alternatives. We just didn't include it. Oh, Rubicon. She had Rubicon instead of acidic fruit juice because it had malic acid, and the malic acid she seemed to get on much better with than citric acid. Right, next question. Sean Parkinson. Quick question. Can you speak Welsh or ever consider learning it? Wel, dwi'n gallu siarad Cymraeg tipyn bach. Dwi wedi wneud cwrs ers mlynedd yn ôl nawr. So yeah, I can speak a little bit of Welsh. I did a course years ago. Nawr ac yn y man dwi'n defnyddio Cymraeg pan dwi'n gweithio. Sometimes I use a bit of Welsh when I'm working, achos weithiau dwi'n wneud pethau gyda phawb sy'n siarad Cymraeg, ond Fel arfer, dwi'n just siarad yn Saesneg. Right, so that was that. I would like to do more Welsh again. When the pandemic's over, I would really, really like to go to a class, a dosbarth Cymraeg, to further my studies, because I only got up to a certain level and then just had to abandon it. Right, next. Thor Dahlgren, who reminded me about the Q&A because I keep forgetting. But thank you very much for the reminder. It's what's prompted this to happen today. A quick question for the Q&A. When do you think you'll start travelling on holidays and Cardiff again? Well, I'm going to go to Cardiff probably next week sometime. So really looking forward to that. Travelling, I don't know. Nobody really knows at the moment. I've had the jab now. Izzy's on the list for the jab because she's in a moderate risk category. So hopefully at some point she'll be done as well. But I don't know if that will make any difference or not, because I think some companies are saying they will only take people if they're vaccinated, but then there's a lot of opposition to this as well. So I'm not going to get involved with politics about the whys or the wherefores or the shoulds or the shouldn'ts, but I wonder if it might make a difference. I certainly wouldn't feel comfortable travelling if I felt that I was a contagion risk. So if I felt confident that I wasn't a risk factor to travel, then I will be happy to travel again. But I don't feel that we're there yet with that, so I don't know. But we're very much looking forward to going on holidays again, and I like going on boats and aeroplanes and big long train journeys. I get all excited, I can't help myself. It never gets old. Kate Hipkin. Hi Imo, my question for the Q&A is, what are the pros and cons of moving from a city to a more rural environment? Was it difficult at first, or is it the best of both worlds? The pros were it was cheaper, significantly cheaper, get a lot more house for your money. More of a sense of community up in the Welsh valleys, absolutely, for sure. Like, people are less anonymous. You can walk just down the street and people say hello to you, people smile, and I feel in Welsh Valleys town, I can just talk to whoever's next to me. I don't even say hello, I just start talking, because people are really receptive to that, I think, in my experience, in a smaller town where I live in the Welsh Valleys and where I lived before. Like, literally just be standing on the bus stop and just chat to whoever's next to you. I mean, I do it in the big city as well, but I find they're less receptive in big cities. They're not as used to it. And on the trains here, again, it's just party central. Everyone just, it's like being in everybody's front room, you know, everyone's just chilling out, talking to each other. You often get people, like big groups of people on the train here, they've never met each other, like, oh, where are you from then? Or which bit of the valley are you from? And the next thing, they're all just chatting like old friends. I've not noticed that in the more city places. When I first moved to my last Welsh Valleys town, I went in and asked in the shop, did they have any free range eggs? And she said, no, but I'm going to Tesco's tomorrow, do you want me to get you some? You know, you don't normally get that in the city. So there's that, yeah, just getting to know people more easily. But since I've moved here, like, first of all, I was just absolutely heads down, right, got to do homeschooling, GCSE, and it took all my time, like that and the vlog channel as well, and keeping up with my music standard and doing my gigs. It took up so much of my time. I didn't get out and mix with the local community other than basics for shopping and that sort of thing. So I was kind of thinking, right, get her for a GCSEs and then I'm gonna get mixing. But then the pandemic struck, so I obviously haven't. Right, transition. I struggled with my last place. I really struggled about less amenities. About a big city, I really like that there's a great opportunity for people with a minority common interests to cluster together, because they can come together from the catchment of that entire city, and there's enough people you can have all these different minority groups. For instance, I like traditional Irish music and traditional Welsh music, and I like loads of traditional musics, and like, you get these subgroups, you know, you get the Welsh music trad scene, and you get the Irish music trad scene, and you get people that are into this, that and the other, and it's enough of you to form these groups. Well, the home ed scene, of course, you know, over the whole of Cardiff City, there were a lot of home educators, enough for quite a few home ed groups, whereas when you live in a smaller area, you only have a handful, really. Yeah, so That's another reason. I like being able to just go to all different shops. I liked being able to just walk to the museum or Techniquest, so many big facilities that you get in the city. A lot of that was a big commute for me, but now I've moved to where I am now, there are a lot more shops on my doorstep, so I have got the best of both worlds now in answer to that, because I live in a town with facilities, so I've got the best of both worlds, and I can travel to Cardiff if I want to go further afield when it's not a pandemic. Okay, I have 2 left. There is kind of 3, but one's for Izzy and she's at college today, so she's not able to do the Q&A. Right, the You Know Who Travel Channel. Ooh, a Q&A. What to ask? It will have to be a travel-based question, of course. So where's your favourite place in Wales to visit and why? We will then go there on our travels and give you a mention. Ooh. Well, my favourite place in Wales. Well, the first thing that comes to my head, and I've been there a million times, it's a haunt of my childhood. It was a haunt of Isabel's childhood. I can't even remember what it's called these days because it's changed its name a few times. I'll put it on the screen. Something like the Museum of Welsh Life or something like that. It's in St Fagans in Cardiff. It's free to get in, and they have a big area full of buildings that have been reconstructed exactly brick by brick from bygone eras in Wales, and so it represents a history of Welsh life, but it's very interactive. You can go in and out of the buildings. They're all furnished for a specific period. There are even Celtic roundhouses. I have done vlogs there in the past. Maybe I'll leave a little playlist of St Fagans, but be warned, some of them were very early on in my vlogging endeavours, and I didn't have a very good camera, so some of them are a bit dodgy. But the later ones are quite sweet, I thought so anyway. I love it there. Yeah, you'd just, you know, you can go in a farm with gas lighting, and there's a big massive stately home, and you've got all these little cottages, there's a school, there's a row of shops, there's a terrace of houses, and in every terrace it goes back like a decade or two. It starts sort of the 1800s and it ends in the 1980s. There are prefabs as well from the post-war era, and you can go in and explore them all. Working Men's Institute, I love it. I love it. That's my favourite place. If I have to pick one, that's a good place to go, and I think you'll love it. You know who. Right, last one. Jules, have you done any jobs other than musicians over the years? Yeah, I have actually, because before I had Izzy, I would always supplement my musician's income with a part-time job. I have worked as a bee. I'm going to have to find a photograph of me in the bee costume. I wasn't just working as a bee, I was working for Cardiff in Bloom, for the Cardiff County Council at the time, yeah, which was a gardening competition. It encouraged people to take pride in their front gardens. It was a competition for front gardens, basically. It was to do with tourism, really, making the area really, really nice and a desirable location for people to visit. And it supported and encouraged people to do gardening, really, and incentivised them to make them better and better. And it did back gardens as well, but you had to not have a front garden before you could empty a back garden. It just made it fair, you know, so everybody could have a go. And there were all sorts of categories of schools, businesses. I worked as an admin assistant for that. But one day we had hired somebody to turn up in a bee costume to attend a big public event in Queen Street or somewhere in Cardiff. And we'd also hired musicians, and on the same day nobody could make it, like there was a problem, and so at the last minute you can imagine the solution that was come up with: me in a bee costume with my flute. Yeah, so thereafter I became Charlie Bee. Yeah, so I used to attend events in this giant fluffy bee costume. Yeah, the music degree came in ever so handy. What else have I done? Worked in Summerfield supermarket. Worked on the cigarette and alcohol counter. Oh, dear me. I'm only laughing because it kind of goes against my principles to promote cigarettes and alcohol, because things can turn bad for people with smoking and drinking, you know. But anyway, then I added gambling into the mix because they introduced the lottery, because I started working in Summerfield before the lottery was invented in our country. Well, it was invented, but you know, it wasn't introduced. So I was working on the lottery ticket machine as well. So yeah, gambling, smoking and drinking. Anyway, but I preferred to do the tills, but I always seem to end up on the kiosk. But it was good, you got to chat to people in the queue. It was kind of nice. Always had the same people coming in all the time, so you could sort of carry on your conversations from where you left off the last time when people came in, and say hello to their kids, give them a wave in the buggy or whatever. Quite like that. It was very people-y, so I liked that, unless people were getting the ump about things. The carrier bag charge. We used to charge 1p a carrier bag, and it didn't go down well. They'd spend £15 on a load of packets of cigarettes and then a bottle of alcohol, but if they had to pay 1p for a carrier bag, I used to get it in the neck. They used to shoot the messenger. What else have I done? Worked for Rhondda Cynon Taf Council as well, as an admin assistant. I worked as a filing clerk for a financial management company as well for a while, which is interesting because I didn't know anything about financial advice and didn't know what any of the documents really meant, but I somehow managed to muddle through and get it all in order eventually. I think I tried very hard, but it was only part-time. Have I done any other work? I think that's about it. Going forward, I'd love to do video editing. So I'm working very hard trying to learn the software at the moment. Anyway, I think that's going to be about it. This just feels so really weird to just sit in one place and talk to the camera. I haven't even like stopped and started it or changed the angle or anything. I probably should have, to be honest, to make it a bit more interesting. But anyway, I haven't. So there we are. I'm going to get on with my day now and not film it. That feels so wrong and weird. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. If you've enjoyed this Q&A, do give it a like. It really helps the channel to grow, and I don't know if I appreciate it. And if you're new here and you'd like to follow more of our story, do hit the subscribe button. And I'll see you tomorrow back for a normal vlog. Bye.